my name is Louise and welcome to Adventures with Yarn. This is my knitting and crochet YouTube podcast channel in which I talk about knitting and crochet. If you are new to the channel, thank you so much for taking the time to come and check me out. And if you're already a subscriber, welcome back. As always, if you like what you see, feel free to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. So, it's been a little while and I've missed you guys. I hope you all have had a great holiday season. I hope your Knitmas went well if you were doing that. I've got quite a few things to talk to you about. We have Knitmas to go over. We're going to talk about Stash Down 2020 and the new year. I have some finished objects, a work in progress, a plan for a future project. I also want to show you something really special from the hashtag Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted game that was going on Instagram. And I have some personal stuff to go over at the end too. So grab your beverage of choice, get cozy, settle in, and let's talk about it. I have my Knit Picks mug and I'm feeling super cozy with some hot chocolate that was gifted to me by my friends. Just one more row, just one more row, just one more row. That pretty much kind of sums up Knitmas, how Knitmas was. I don't know how this happens almost every year, but Knitmas just creeps up on me. I never have enough time. I am bound and determined this year for 2020 Knitmas is going to be different. It's going to be better. I'm going to vow to be more organized. I really like hearing about Squidney Knitmas. Christy Glass Knits does an interview with her. She also has like an inappropriate amount of people to knit for, and she does it, and she shows kind of like a notebook and how she keeps track of her yardages and stuff, and it's really cool. So I'm going to really try to be diligent this year. Instead of waiting more so to the last minute, I'm going to try really hard to kind of do at least one Knitmas project a month, and in that way I can take time around Christmas time to knit some stuff for myself. Like maybe perhaps getting my hands on an Advent stripe sock, or maybe actually knitting the minis that I get out of an Advent calendar. I mean, that would be nice. That would be fun. Instead of, feverishly knitting away at these Knitmas gifts. Oh my gosh. Yes, it is the best thing in the world for me to knit and give away my things. But it, I literally was knitting on the plane to see family. I was knitting up until like the middle of Christmas Day, weaving in ends, only just squeaked by. And then even so, I, still have some Knitmas gifts to give people. But like even Squidney, or Sydney's her name. She goes by Squidney Knits on Instagram. Even Sydney is saying that, she, some of her Knitmas gifts go out the end of January. So I don't feel too bad that I still have one last one I'm working on, and another one to give away. But, it's going to be different. It's going to be different. So why don't I show you those things? So, one of the last Knitmas gift items that I have, which is also my finished object for today, is some Rose City roller socks. And I'm so excited to give these away to a good friend of mine, who I have especially gotten to know better this last year. We are always chit-chatting about movies and TV, and what's cool about these socks is that the yarn, it is Madeline Tosh Yarn, and this colorway is the Night King, inspired by Game of Thrones. And as you may recall, Game of Thrones had its final finale this last year, And this black tonal colorway, it's also from Madeline Tosh, that I did the heels and the toes of, is called the Upside Down, inspired by Stranger Things. And some of you may know that Stranger Things had its 3rd season this last year. So this was really fun to knit. This is the 2nd pair of Rose City roller socks that I've ever made. I really like this pattern, especially for those types of people that don't like socks that go up their legs. You know, they like the shorty socks. The cuff is so easy. I mean, the cuff is just, you don't even do a cuff. It's just kind of like the 1st inch of the leg and let it roll onto itself. And then you start the heel and move on into the gusset and then the rest of the sock. These are really fun. I really like them. I am sure to be making more of these in the future. So I'm really excited to give these away. I have not given them away yet because I still have this next project I'm going to show you that is going to the partner of the recipient of those socks. So I want to give them both away at the same time. And so this is, there's not really a pattern to it. Basically, I'm making a scarf. And if you've been watching my past episodes, you'll be very familiar with this yarn. I bought a lot of this Lion brand Ferris Wheel yarn. This is the colorway called Imaginary Gardens. And basically I am making just a simple garter stitch scarf. And you can see how the colors change with this yarn. This is a very lovely yarn. And the reason why I bought it, because it is fun and whimsical, but still fairly masculine. It's really fun to make. Basically, I went into Knitmas triage mode and kind of was knitting the things that needed to be given away first, and saving other things that could be given away later for later. So basically, I knit for my family. Let's see here. I knit for my family, and then come right after Christmas, I was finishing up the Rose City roller socks, and I had intended on making this scarf, but I had not actually brought my knitting needles with me to Arkansas, which is where we went for Christmas. So I thought, well, you know, a garter knit scarf isn't going to take super long. I'll just wait until I get back into town. And so I took a little bit of time to knit for myself in the meantime. So I am trying to wrap this up as soon as possible. I don't know. I potentially could have made this too thick to have a proper length scarf, using only one ball of this yarn, but I do have extras left over from the other hats I made for Knitmas. So it's kind of, the timing's kind of sad that I don't have all my other Knitmas objects to show you, because I gave them away. But you can trust me, they were highly appreciated by the people I made them for. I made socks for my sisters and my mom. I made a lot of knitted hats. I finished up my night shift shawl and gave that away to my sister-in-law. I made, let's see here, some mittens, not mittens, fingerless mitts for my grandma, a hat for my grandpa, lots of hats. A hat for my mother-in-law, as well as kind of like a little scarflet, a little triangle shawl scarf. I made an infinity scarf for my husband's grandmother. It was great. It was a great Knitmas. I am excited to get a leg up on Knitmas 2020. I've already made out a list. And I really hope to at least make one object a month and kind of keep things going so that I don't feel as rushed kind of like I currently am knitting this scarf. I have been, you know what, I don't typically knit in the car around town, but I have been today and yesterday, because I really, really, really want to get this done and give it away. What's next? I want to show you what I started working on Christmas, right after Christmas for myself. So, of course, yes, I like to keep socks, especially socks while I'm traveling, in my blue Q bag. So, I had found on the internet some free patterns, and one of them was, it appears to be the third installment of a certain sock knit along, which I was fine with just hopping in at the end there. But I found this sock pattern, and I'm just going to show you what I have so far. So this is what I have so far. I should give you a little bit of a warning. This is kind of nuts. It's kind of out there. But the sock pattern is the Ghost of Christmas Present sock. And it was kind of like a mystery sock pattern. They kind of told you a little bit about it beforehand, and then on Christmas Eve they released the actual pattern. Because I had the Stranger Things inspired colorway, the upside down, had plenty of that with me. The pattern called for 2 contrasting colors. Well, for Christmas, I told my husband that I wanted some yarn, particularly hand-dyed yarn from England is basically what it turns out to be. It may not be a secret that I am infatuated with Biff Sugar yarns. You can find her on Etsy. I have also started checking out Woolly Mama yarns. And so I told my husband, I was like, you could pretty much get anything from either of those Etsy shops and I will love it. He picked out like the brightest colorway from Woolly Mama yarns, which was amazing. I should have grabbed the second skein that he gave me, but I got 2 skeins, and it's going to look different when I show you how I balled it up. I'm just going to show you how I balled it up. This is what it looks like. My husband keeps saying like, oh my gosh, it looks like a ball of rubber bands. So this is what it looks like balled up. But if you can try to imagine, when it is in a skein, it's like the colors are in kind of like chunks. So kind of starting with like the deep green to the light green to the yellow, orange, and to the pink at the end of the skein, making this like super bright, incredible skein of yarn, which by the way, the color is called Jungle Fever. So this is what it looks like all balled up. And I thought, what better 2 contrasting colors than these? It's pretty out there. But then the pattern also said that there was a floral motif is how they worded it. And I thought, I don't know if neon and black stripes really go with floral motif, but it said just the cuff. And I'm going to show you this cuff. I went ahead and went for it. This is very interesting. So I think this is supposed to be kind of like Victorian era-esque. You know, kind of like Dickens of A Christmas Carol, the story of that about Ghost of Christmas Present. But this was quite an adventure making this cuff. So basically it started with like, it had me cast on literally double the amount of stitches that ended up being needed for the sock. And then it had me do this technique of wrapping stitches, which I am considering posting a tutorial for. Because it was pretty daunting and intimidating, but ended up making this super cool texture. And if you can see, these stitches here are wrapped, and it kind of tugs and, like I said, makes this kind of scalloped, pointy almost, it looks like my sock has like a crown on the cuff. So yeah, and it the sock pattern is pretty it's not like super detailed. It kind of lets you, you know, do your own thing. It's like basically knit your leg as long as you want it to be. I decided I was too impatient to start the heel, so this is gonna have a fairly short cuff up here. I also had some adventures with changing the colors as far as these stripes go. But basically, let me show you this. So this is kind of how the stripes of the yarn ended up. I think that if I hadn't done the alternating stripes with the gray, that you would definitely see some pooling action going on, and that would probably look pretty cool and fun. But as much as I love bright colors, I thought this might be a bit much. I think I need the black to kind of break it up. So anyway, so I decided to carry the yarn along for the stripes, and I had some adventures with the color changes, trying to do a jogless color change. And this is basically where my color changes are. Maybe it is a little hard to see because of how bright things are. I think you could see things were a little awkward and then got a little bit easier for me as time went on. I'm considering making a video as well showing how, showing the method that I ended up preferring to use for those. So this is my sock for myself. Technically not my Christmas Eve cast on, but in sentiment it is. Basically being the first project for myself being made after Knitmas. And like before too, with yarn that I got for Christmas. Well, half of it. The Woolly Mama yarns. That bright color. I have a cutesy little stitch marker on here from Charmed and Dangerous. You may recall the very last episode that I filmed, I opened up her holiday charm box and I got 4 holiday charms. And this is one of them. Super cute. So that is one of the projects that I've been working on. I'm going to show you next. Oh my gosh, I didn't show you. So the scarf that I've been knitting, I didn't show you what bag I have it in. I got some new bags, especially for the holidays. And I have to show you this because it is freaking adorable. This is a project bag from the Nicole Stitches Projects. Oh, I've butchered it. NSP Designs. Nicole Stitches Podcast. That's what it is. So this has been a recently new to me podcast that I have been thoroughly enjoying. I highly recommend you go and check it out. Nicole Stitches Podcast. She not only knits and crochets, she also sews, and she sells these adorable bags. And this is one of them. Emily from When Harry Met Annie was talking to me, and she was telling me that her and her coworkers have also purchased some of Nicole's bags in the past, and their holiday bags are so cute that they ended up getting used all year long, and I cannot fault them for that. I very well might use this all year long because it is adorable. It is so cute. The other bag that I got from her is also one of her holiday bags, but it's a little less holiday-like, I guess. So how cute is this bag? Oh my gosh. So this was also one of her holiday bags, but as you can see, like, it's not like in your face holiday. I think I could definitely get away with using this all year long. So adorable, so cute. I wish that I could sew bags. So cute. Anyways, inside of this bag, which by the way, you gotta look at, It's got this like gold spatter fabric inside. Inside of this bag, I have 1 skein of yarn. The makers of the sock pattern that I was making, the Ghost of Christmas Present, they also had another mystery knit along that they were dropping on New Year's Eve called the Knit Two Together Shawl. And so I put aside one of my stash acquisitions. No, not wrong word. One of my acquisitions. I would say stash acquisition. Blah. I think I would say stash acquisition if it came from my stash. This did not. This is brand new. This is from Biff Sugar Yarns, and it is the color called Siren, and it is a single ply yarn. So I think I'm going to use this and give it a go with the shawl pattern. And typically I don't like put yarn aside in a project bag in preparation for a pattern, but skipping ahead to personal stuff in life, I'm moving and I just packed up my yarn. So I was sure to leave out beside the projects I'm working on as well as something else to work on so that I do not find myself without anything to knit or crochet. Yeah, we are moving to a bigger place, which is really exciting, because currently we do not have room for a baby. Should we have one this year? We're really hoping to have one this year. I'm really hoping that this will be our year. Actually, in a couple days from now, I have my next appointment with a fertility doctor. We've already done a slew of tests, and it is now time to regroup and plan and figure out what our next step is. So this is a really exciting, probably looking at IVF. We've already talked to the financial counselor. We've talked to genetics counselor. There's all kinds of stuff involved, but we'll talk about that some more next time after I actually have the appointment. So I should have some more information. But in the meantime, we found a place and it's bigger. There's more room. I'm really excited. I am going to have a different way of keeping my yarn. So previously I have been keeping my yarn in a closet. It is my yarn closet. I could potentially now be using maybe this shelving unit behind me, if not a different shelving unit, but I think I'm going to be having my yarn out and probably even using it as a new backdrop. So this could be the last podcast with this backdrop situation, because there's gonna be some changes. I'm really excited about it. In the new place that we're going, until we have a baby, until we make the nursery a nursery, that is where I'm going to be setting up my yarn stash. I'll probably be setting up a more kind of permanent place to be filming, so I don't have to like take down my whole setup every time and put it back together. My husband is so lovingly calling the other that particular bedroom my yarn barn. It's going to be the yarn barn until future time, of which it will be turned into a nursery, and then we have to figure out where the yarn will go. So that's exciting. What's also exciting, and now it's time to talk about Stash Down 2020. So this really got me motivated to pack up my yarn because I wanted to take a full inventory of the yarn that I have. Stash Down 2020 is a hashtag going around on Instagram. There is a Instagram user called Brown Girl Knits, and I highly recommend you go check her out, and I highly recommend you join me in Stash Down 2020. I'm super excited. If you've been watching my channel, you may know last year I put myself on a yarn diet. I tried really hard not to buy yarn at all, and until, I think I made it like 5 months or so, 5 or 6 months maybe, I don't know. But I definitely probably made up for it the rest of the year. I've bought a lot of yarn lately, so this is a little bit different. So Stash Down 2020 is a great opportunity to use up yarn from your stash. So what you do, there's a couple steps. For Stash Down 2020, you first take inventory of your yarn stash. And in that way, later on at the end of the year, you can take another inventory and you can see what kind of a dent you made in your stash. So you take an inventory and then you make a list and pick out patterns that you want to make using the yarn that you have. Step number 3 is that you knit from that list all year long. And it kind of keeps you on track. Then step number 4 is to give yourself a $30 allowance for new yarn. But step number 5 is you can have 2 deal breakers for the year. So if you see something your willpower gives up, then you have to have it, then you let yourself have it. So that's Stash Down 2020. You also can use the hashtag Stash Down 2020 when you make finished objects from your stash. So I'm super excited about this. I'm really excited. I have such a stash. Oh my gosh. So I was packing up my yarn. It is so much. I mean, I say I kept my yarn in a closet. It wasn't a huge closet. It's a fairly small closet. It's not like some walk-in closet. But the inventory was pretty surprising. So we bought a bunch of moving boxes from Home Depot, and if you're familiar with the size large boxes, they're like 2.5 feet cubed square. I mean, I put out my hands, but the camera view doesn't even show it. Big boxes, right, size large. I filled up 5 of those with yarn, and there's still not 100% of my yarn is packed. Most of it is. I still have some whips in a certain location in the living room, and maybe a few things. Anyways, but almost, I'd say I have like 90, maybe probably 95% of my yarn inventoried and packed. So the total number of skeins, although I did count some mini skeins, I counted mini skeins, and I counted some like skein halves, but all individually, the grand total 626. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Of those, the majority is actually my worsted weight bargain yarn. And of those, I have 257 skeins of worsted weight bargain yarn. I did count 35 pairs of what I determined to be luxury sock yarn, like the Biff Sugar yarns, what else? Basically any like indie dyed yarn. If it costs like more than $15, then for me that is luxury. Surprisingly, only 2 full skeins of single ply luxury yarn. But I do want to make some shawls out of those this year. I started counting up my mini skeins because I have started collecting those. I'm really stoked, and I had a mini skein advent calendar. I really want to make like a granny stripe mini skein blanket. I started inventorying the mini skeins, and then separately I was inventorying like half skeins, but I labeled them halves and minis. And then somewhere along the line, I started counting one as the other, so I just kind of mixed them together. Basically, I have 136 what I determined to be minis and half skeins. So either mini skein or enough of a skein to make like a small ball, little halvesies. that kind of thing. So I'm really excited to make those. I have started kind of a list of the things that I want to make. I want to, like I'm saying, I want to make a granny stripe blanket out of the mini skeins. I have in mind a cardigan. I don't specifically have a pattern picked out yet, but I already do have the yarn for it, which I was sure to get before the new year because I thought something like this would happen. But I have a sweater's quantity worth of some Knit Picks yarn in the colorway, I think it's called Victorian Rose. It's like kind of a deep pink. So that will be my garment for myself for this year. I also have plans, I've already packed it away, but I have this big old ball of yarn, and basically what I did last spring is I took some nice yarn that I wanted to use for myself, and I wound it up all into a ball until it was the size of the cyst that they found on my ovary last spring. And it was grapefruit size. It was 19 centimeters in diameter. So I had really pretty yarn wrapped. I think it took up like 4 skeins total. I believe that I used up the yarn on the very outer layer after my surgery, because I told myself I wouldn't start unraveling it until after the surgery and it was done. I would have something to look forward to, and which was awesome because the cyst was benign, all was well, and now onward with the fertility journey. So I'm looking forward to using up some more of that this new year, because the next outer layer is a Noro cotton yarn that I want to make a gram hat for myself out of, because I last Christmas made each of my 3 sisters their own Noro hats with that same cotton yarn. So now I need to have a matching one for myself. And then I know that underneath that is, I want to say it's fingering weight single ply. It's a Madeline Tosh, and it's like a Madeline Tosh sparkle, I think. It's got these, it's light pink, and it's got these kind of like gold-ish, rose gold flints of sparkle in it. I just remember it being really pretty. I can't see it because now it's buried inside that ball, which is now packed away with the rest of the yarn. But I'm really excited, and I don't even remember what was underneath that. Hopefully, probably something really nice. So I'll just have to find out. But I'm really looking forward to making those. I want to make myself some nice hats. And what else? You know what else is on my list? I have not made an official Make 9 2020, but now that Christmas is over, I want to make an amigurumi baby Yoda. That they seem to be all the rage now. I haven't even started watching The Mandalorian on Disney Plus, but people say it's awesome, it's amazing, it's so cute. So I actually have a couple people that want me to make it for them, so I'll probably do that. So those are just a few things that will be on my list. Maybe I'll make up a more comprehensive Make 9 2020, although my Make 9 2019 didn't really come to fruition. Well, I'm gonna really try. Okay, so yeah, what else to talk about? I have something I wanted to show you from the hashtag Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted. So you may be familiar with the game, hashtag Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted 2019. You post the hashtag, you put out there what you would want, what your yarn wishes are, and if people feel so generous, then they will grant your wishes. It was really fun. In the spirit of giving, it was really fun granting other people's wishes, especially when they were like patterns online. You could just kind of go and gift them online. It was fairly easy. I had wished for some stitch markers. I said stitch markers and mini skeins, and I got several packages, and which is pretty amazing. Plenty of mini skeins and stitch markers. I did also specifically say, like, if you have any stitch markers or enamel pins also, because I collect those too, that are especially representative of where you're from, that would be really cool. So I got this package, and like I'm saying, I got several packages that from people that granted my yarn wish that was really, really cool, really awesome, really touched my heart. But this one in particular, I just have to share with you. So this came from a gal named Valerie who lives in Canada. So she gave me like some Canadian candy with little maple leaves on them. I think, and I almost wonder if this is some sort of like maple syrup candy. She gave me some maple hot chocolate mix. I love all this representing Canada here. Some enamel pins, which are so stinking cute. Basically some little llamas or alpacas. Oh, I should have been more prepared here to show these. They're so cute. Let's see. Here's another one. Sorry, the camera's kind of blowing them out. And they're pins. I don't know if I can really show them. There's that one. And then, oops. And then these two. My gosh, they're so cute. So she had those in there, and then she had these stitch marker sets that I have to show you. So this first one is a little lovely group of ladybugs. Here, you can kind of see different ladybug stitch markers there. And this other one has a little maple leaf, and then you have these breast cancer awareness stitch markers. And that'll make sense here in just a little bit after I read you the card. So, okay, how cute is this card? I have to color this. A bunch of yarn here. I plan on coloring, but I'm gonna read this. Basically, she's saying, "Dear Louise, I'm pleased to grant your yarn wish. I love to make stitch markers. Last September, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and in April, I had a partial mastectomy. Currently, I am cancer-free. I found these beads, the pink ones with the ribbons on a trip I took with my friends after the surgery. They remind me of all the support I have received through this whole journey. I've included some few Canadian extras and this coloring card. I would love to see your finished masterpiece. Good luck on all your crafting adventures. Love, Valerie." That she would share those stitch markers with me, that means so much. That that represent what she has gone through. And this is just this last year that she was diagnosed with cancer, and then had surgery and is now going through recovery. That's just amazing to me. That is really amazing and special, and I feel very honored that she would feel so inclined to give me these stitch markers that are so sentimental to what she has been going through. So I just really wanted to share that with you, and how powerful I feel like that is. And I feel really honored and really blessed that she was willing to give these to me. Thank you, Valerie. Okay, I think that's it for now. Thanks for watching. As always, if you like what you see, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already. Because of moving and such, I am for sure will be back in 2 weeks instead of next week. And I will have some more information to tell you about fertility journey and such. Hopefully I should have some more stuff knitted, all the good stuff. All right, I hope you guys are well. Enjoy your crafting, and I will talk to you later. Bye.